This content is brought to you by iTrust Capital, which is a great platform that allows you to easily invest in crypto without worrying about taxes or fees. iTrust Capital allows you to invest in crypto through an individual retirement account or IRA. IRAs are tax-sheltered accounts, which means all of your crypto is tax-free and can even grow tax-free over time. The process of signing up with iTrust Capital is very easy. They have a mobile app. They have 25 plus cryptocurrencies. They have full support, a dedicated team ready to help you. And it is free. And once again, 100% free to sign up with iTrust Capital. There are no hidden fees and there's no monthly subscription or membership. They also have great security. They utilize Coinbase custody for all their custodial services. So you don't have to worry. It is institutional grade crypto custody that they are using. This is a great platform. Once again, it is free to sign up. So visit the link in the description and go check it out. If you sign up with my link, you get a $100 funding bonus. So once again, check the link in the description. Welcome back to the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. With me today is Monica Long, who's the General Manager of RippleX at Ripple. Monica, it's great to have you back on the show.
Thank you, Tony. Really happy to be back. Thanks for having me.
Well, I'm excited to chat with you. There's a lot of big updates around RippleX, and I have a lot of questions for you.
Cool. Let's get to it.
So I saw recently the XRPL grants were announced. I guess maybe either the first phase or group of winners. Can you tell us about that and who were the respective winners?
Yeah, happy to. I'm so excited about this program. So it's something we actually launched originally last May. So we just announced Wave 2 and lots of really exciting projects within Wave 2, a lot specifically around NFT projects. So we have awarded more than 50 projects now, more than $6 million.
Wow.
And happy. Would you like to talk a little bit about some of the projects that got grants?
Yeah, if you can, maybe, I know it's a lot, so maybe the top 3 or so.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we won't go through all just be here all day. But you can check out all the projects at XRPL grants.org. So if anyone wants to get the full list, but a few that we're really excited about, Carbon Land Trust, which is, you can think of it like a carbon credits marketplace / DeFi protocol. XPunks, which has been a fan favorite within the XRPL community. And they have some exciting new stuff they're working on behind the scenes. So I'm excited to see that as well. Aesthetes, sorry, I want to make sure I'm saying that. Aesthetes, which is a new NFT marketplace developed by Elysian. Elysian also is a new kind of token for artists and NFT projects. And then lastly, I'll call out Trustline, which is a two-way decentralized bridge. So it creates a bridge for XRP to connect with networks like Flare, but then also for tokens on other chains to come on to XRP Ledger.
That's exciting. I know many folks have been waiting for the ability to get as many NFTs on the, or build them on the XRP Ledger versus Ethereum with the crazy gas fees. So I'm curious, when will, I know there's been talks about you guys working with Mintable as well. Any updates on when that may be going live?
Yeah, so we've created a number of partnerships with different NFT marketplaces and platforms. Mintable, another one I'll call out is Mint NFT. They launched in January with a really exciting campaign with Balmain and Barbie. So that's a really cool. They've been very focused on getting the user experience right. So for any of us in the NFT verse, we know that that UX can be a little tricky. So yeah, lots of partners like that. The key dependency there is the acceptance of XLS20, which is the new native NFT standard to the ledger, for it to go up for amendment and then be accepted onto mainnet. So our expectation from our side is it's already up on DevNet. Lots of developers have been using it and giving us great feedback, and it's like a really nice kind of community vibe about the DevNet. Our expectation is that we'll propose it for mainnet amendment in April, and then it's up to the validators. The amendment needs 80% consensus from validators to be accepted. In addition to awarding these creators with funding for their projects, we've also partnered with even more NFT platforms and marketplaces beyond Mintable, Mint NFT. A few examples of who we've recently announced are Eternal Labs. They're a really cool incubator. Other investors included Riot Games and Algorand and Polygon. And what they're looking to do is to help different creators, artists, athletes take on kind of provide that full suite of capabilities for their NFT Web3 projects. We also partnered with NFT Pro. So they're like a white label platform for brands and creators to do their NFT projects and integrate them into their branded experiences. And then also on XRP, which is been developed by the Xpunks team. So it's a platform that provides NFT creators with different tool sets like the DEX and an NFT marketplace.
Awesome. Well, it's so exciting to see all these NFT creators being able to issue on the XRP Ledger now. I know this is a process, and you just talked about phase 2. Can you tell us about what we can expect this year? Will it be phase 3 and so on and so forth?
Yeah, so I'd love to also call out, so there's 2 big programs we're running. XRPL Dev Grants, so it's open to any developers that have any projects. So even though I mentioned in wave 2, we saw a lot of NFT projects, Trustline, something unrelated to NFT specifically. So it's really open to any project, any idea. And then there's secondly, this creator fund we launched last year. We've put up $250 million toward NFT creators of all types. The goal there is to provide independent creators who are looking to grow their communities and their followings with the funding they need to build their projects on XRPL, but also to provide creative and tech resources to these creators. Because we learned that was a pain point out there, talking to lots of different creators last year. They were interested, but they didn't know how to go about. They didn't have the resources to create their NFT projects. So that's a big piece of news is we're sharing, a first set of projects that we funded. So I'd love to tell you a bit more about those.
Sure.
Yeah. So Justin Bua is one recipient. He's an artist and author, producer, entrepreneur. So he's creating kind of an art metaverse with some really cool lounge aspects and token drops. Xpunks, of course, the beloved project and leaders within XRPL. And then Stephen Sebring, who is an artist and filmmaker and photographer, photoscientist. He has a really cool project to capture historical items and archive them. So things like Andy Warhol's Brillo pads or George Harrison's Rickenbacker. So I think that'll be a really interesting one to see.
This is kind of inspiring me to go back to my artistic roots, and maybe I can start building some cool NFTs. I was speaking to someone yesterday about it. I went to a high school of performing arts, LaGuardia in Manhattan, New York City.
That's legit. That's awesome.
Yeah, but I haven't picked up a paintbrush or anything like that in years. But maybe I don't know, I can get inspired. Maybe I can get a grant and start building something cool. But we'll see.
Absolutely. I gotta encourage that. Yeah, I think it's just a really fun space to play in, even, if it's a hobby or if it's your profession. I hope the user experience continues to get better and better, so more and more people have access.
Yeah, that's awesome that you guys are providing the support, not just the funding, but the support that a lot of these artists need, because it can be a bit intimidating, understanding how the blockchain works and tokenization and all of that. And so it's really great that you guys are doing that.
Yeah. And I would say that some of the things that, when we start engaging and talking to creators, but also NFT marketplaces and platforms, things that are resonating about XRP Ledger are, its performance, low cost and speed, the fees, the gas fees on, Ethereum or other chains, like that's a huge pain point for the expansion of this NFT market. And also sustainability, that keeps coming up. Just the fact that XRPL is already carbon neutral, headed toward carbon negative. I think I got that. I was thinking which direction it goes in carbon negative. This kind of like the artist community having that consciousness about, what would the fees be to their fans, and then also the carbon footprint. Those have been important selling points.
For sure. I also want to ask you about some recent news where Status, if I'm saying that right, is issuing a stablecoin, a euro-backed stablecoin on the XRP Ledger. Can you tell us about that, how it came about and how that would work?
Yeah. So it's Stasis, very, very close with the IS there. So Stasis Euro, they're the leading euro-backed stablecoin. And they're super excited to integrate with XRP Ledger. So that would mean that euros as a stablecoin will be available on XRPL. And we know that stablecoins are these really important on and off ramps for developers and their users. And so when we think about the power of the decentralized exchange on XRP Ledger that's built right into the protocol, the availability of these stablecoins, these on and off ramps, is really critical to kind of rebuilding or growing the liquidity within that DEX for more and more use cases to take advantage of. I'll also share, this is exciting, that GateHub, so one of the earliest, largest gateways on XRP Ledger, they just wrapped USDCs. I think that launched yesterday. So you can now find USDC on XRP Ledger.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool. So how do you, and I'm curious, I guess my question would be, these different folks who are building these stable coins, are they using the private ledger, or is it on the open ledger where you can see all the transactions? And I don't know if I articulated that well.
You're spot on there. They're on the public ledger. So the open public ledger.
Got it. So on that note, and I had talked to David Schwartz, your colleague, about this, that potentially CBDCs being built on the XRP ledger. Any updates that you can share? I know some things may be under NDA wraps and so forth, but any updates as far as, our central banks working with you guys to do that, and have they moved forward and things like that?
Yeah. So I think so when we last spoke about this, we had signed a couple of exciting projects. So that's with the Royal Monetary Authority of Bhutan, and then the Republic of Palau. Bhutan is looking to build to create their own currency, CBDC, and then Palau is looking to create a US dollar stablecoin, since they use the US dollar there. So they're connecting back to your question about public versus private ledger, the way these CBDC pilots are being built are on private side chains to XRPL, using the same code base as XRPL as the underpinning of the private side chain. And we've built and we're providing this product that makes the experience for the central banks to mint and manage and burn any coins very easy. So we were making lots of progress with those two projects and signing them. We have a a lot of conversations, a lot of irons on the fire all around the world. And I really, I hope that we can share more news soon because we're making really good progress on the central bank front.
That's awesome to hear. Hopefully, maybe you guys can, I don't know, talk to the Fed here in the United States so they can build on the XRP Ledger. But
Yeah.
anyway, that's
Yeah,
all right.
and just interesting developments in the U.S. Coming from the executive office, and of course, we've known that the Fed has looked at CBDCs for a while now. So yeah, we'll see what this new executive order does for the crypto scene in the U.S.
For sure. You may have touched on this because you mentioned carbon credit solution before, but Xange, I think that was the news where they were developing carbon credit solution on the XRP Ledger. Can you tell us about that and how that relationship came about?
Yeah. So I think for XRPL to be known as, carbon neutral and federated consensus to be green by design. So the amount of energy that you need for XRPL transactions over the course of the year is equivalent to like the energy expenditure of 50 US households versus you look at a proof of work chain, it's something like 14, 15 million US households. So by design, very green. And then as we've talked about before, Ripple and others in the community have contributed to buying carbon offsets so that it's actually carbon neutral. This has made it really attractive for carbon credit marketplaces like Xange is the first to decide to use XRP Ledger. We have a partnership with them, so we're providing support for that integration. And the use case is interesting. The challenges in carbon credits remind me a lot of what we heard early on about the challenges of payments. So these carbon credit markets are fragmented all over the world. They don't interoperate. There's poor price discovery across the different carbon credits. There's a double spend problem where, a carbon credit might be used by one organization and then reused a second time unwittingly. So there's a lot to solve there with, kind of creating like a global fabric or interoperability using blockchain, providing greater transparency and tracking, as well as greater efficiency for the markets themselves, so that the trades happen at lower cost and that kind of thing. So we're really excited to see where that goes. This is a use case we're big believers in, so we're pushing more into this area, so stay tuned.
Now, we covered a lot as far as what is happening and some of the future plans. Is there anything else that's on the roadmap for this year for RippleX that you are able to hint at or share?
Yeah, there's a lot of exciting stuff going on. We're really excited XLS 20 to be voted on as an amendment, and we're excited to see how that goes. We've also been working for a while now on this federated sidechains initiative. So this is enabling sidechains to XRP Ledger, where developers can take that sidechain and customize it to whatever use case they have, but then have the benefit of this federator, which is a simple piece of software that connects the sidechain back to the main ledger. So the headline there is just greater flexibility for developers in whatever use case they want to build. And so that's been released since last fall, and we just continue to iterate and improve. So it's kind of, fully robust, production ready. With that kind of new tech development, we've also been working a lot on the right approach to adding smart contracts to XRP Ledger. I mean, I say right approach, there's many approaches. Sure. For those who know the ledger, there's already feature sets built into the ledger that developers can use that serve similar functionality as smart contracts and other chains. Those are called smart transactors in XRPL. There's also a really exciting project run by XRPL Labs out of the Netherlands called Hooks. That's kind of homegrown smart contracts for XRPL. And then what we've been exploring is we hear from a lot of developers that they're looking for EVM, Ethereum virtual machine compatibility. So that's what we've been working on a design of, is how to bring Ethereum smart contracts capabilities to an XRPL sidechain. So that's a big project. We're working on a spec for an automated market maker to add that to the XRPL DEX. And let's see if there's anything else I wanted to highlight. And I would say, key differentiators for XRPL all along have been its speed, its low cost nature, its scalability. So, we want to keep pushing the envelope on performance and scalability. So that's an area where we're continuing to contribute and add our innovation.
That's exciting. I'm very curious about the Ethereum virtual machine as well as the smart contract capabilities. Looking forward to those respective updates. Monica, always a pleasure chatting with you. Thank you so much for joining me today, and exciting things happening on RippleX, and looking forward to having you back on as things progress.
Likewise. Thank you so much for having me, Tony.